You know the drill by now. This is the 24th in the series, blah blah blah, I'm roommate, you get the picture. You can stream Ginger Snaps here right now, but don't be scared, just get the whole trilogy on Blu-ray for $35. If it weren't for the stupid one per franchise rule, all 3 of these would be in the 50 Shades challenge. There's a great sequel and prequel, and each movie is awesome in a different way. They're a sweet way to spend 5 hours.
There's something you can sink your teeth into.
But whatever, if I have to choose just one, it's the original. It's the right way to meet the Fitzgerald sisters. Now that the challenge is out of the kiddie pool, we get some heroes, Bridget and Ginger, that aren't total cream puffs. Growing up in Bailey Downs, in the middle of nowhere Canada, has opened their eyes to how pointless everything is. They see all these cliché people living out their boring, menial lives where everyone is scared into staying in their lanes. They've already given up on rising above it, but they'll make sure their exit will be exciting at least.
Wrists are for girls. I'm slitting my throat.
Well, they're not really ready to punch out just yet, but they've made a pact that they would rather die than be basic.
Out by 16 or dead in the scene, but together forever.
The connection that Bridget and Ginger have is so strong, you know that these sisters love each other more than anything. Ginger, being a year older, is about to leave childhood behind forever, seeing as she's already 16.
If I start simping around tampon dispensers and moaning about PMS, just shoot me, okay?
And right as she discovers that this nasty new chapter in her life is starting, she gets ambushed by a werewolf. A bunch of the neighborhood dogs have been brutally mauled, which has spread a panic in the sleepy town. But it turns out that they should be a lot more afraid, because there's a lycanthrope rampaging about, snatching teens. Bee is ready to help Ginger treat her wounds after they escape, but her werewolf powers make that unnecessary. Bee does help with the more typical bodily transformations by buying some blood plugs for her big sis.
Are you sure it's just cramps?
Just so you know, the words just and cramps, they don't go together.
This movie's camera work is amazing, like in these shots where the visuals convey how daunting womanhood seems to them. When the two of them check up on how Ginger is healing, they see crazy hairs growing out just like Seth had in The Fly.
I can't have a hairy chest, B. That's fucked.
When they go to their school counselor for help, she explains the bleak reality of the female curse.
Expected every 28 days, give or take, for the next 30 years.
Great.
Ginger Snaps links the fear of growing up with a supernatural threat, showing how horrific normal life is. Becoming a hormone-addled adult shatters the conception of yourself. You don't know who you really are anymore. Ginger initially resists who she's becoming, downplaying what impact the changes have on who she is.
I've got weird hairs. So what? That means I've got hormones, and they may make me butt ugly, but they do not make me a monster.
Come on, Ginger, you're butt ugly? Then what would you call Brundlefly? Depression makes you say some pretty dumb shit. And self-loathing isn't the only emotion Ginger is overcome by, as when Bee tries to rein her in, they start fighting.
Well, you always wanted to be me.
But despite her sister's animosity, Bee is still there for her, even after Ginger comes home from eating a dog.
I get this ache. I thought it was for sex, but it's to tear everything into fucking pieces.
Ginger needs her sister more than ever as she tries to mutilate her new tail to get rid of this curse. Self-abuse is hard for most normies to understand, but even they would want to get rid of this unnatural growth. This scene shows what it feels like to think that you were made wrong, and you just want to cut out the parts of yourself that you hate.
Nothing helps except tearing life things to pieces. I can't be like this!
The girls aren't completely on their own, though, since the drug dealer Sam takes an interest in their problem. He was the one who accidentally hit the werewolf who attacked Ginger, so he tracks down Bridget.
Oh, thank you. I just spent a week of my life looking for you. You can give me a second.
She lies to protect her sister, claiming that she was the one who was bitten, and shares her grim prognosis with him.
I'm changing right now, and everything I look at goes silver bullet in a gun to my head. The end.
Wow.
The movie never commits on showing Sam is crushing on Bee or not, letting the audience make up their own minds. I don't think he is. I think showing werewolves exists and saving lives are sufficient motivation for him. But more than one character thinks he's smitten by the younger Bee, so it's certainly possible. I just don't see it. Less ambiguous is Ginger's relationship with Jason, who is blatantly hitting on her all the time. At first, she completely blows him off, like when he offers her an herbal remedy to her feminine frustrations.
Nothing quite takes the edge off like a good toke.
Maybe I like my edge. Thanks.
But when the burdens of being a beast become too much for her, she figures fuck it and takes him up on the offer. Before long, Ginger does a complete 180, so she's pretty stoked when her sister hangs out with Bailey Downs' weed man.
Wicked. Smoke us up.
Yeah, wicked, huh? Get the fuck out.
With her inhibitions lowered and her temptations rising, she and Jason become more than smoking buddies. When Bee starts to piece together what she can do to help Ginger, she finds out that her sis doesn't want to be saved.
Ginger, a word?
Is it sorry?
No.
Ginger just wants to feed her growing appetite, leaving Bee behind to sneak out and hook up with Jason.
Sorry. It just tastes really good.
It isn't too hard for Bee to figure out what Ginger did, and she tells her sister how dangerous and stupid she's being.
You had unprotected sex and you infected him.
Oops.
Jason corners Bee in a supply closet and shows that he's succumbing to the wolf just as quickly as Ginger.
I'm up to some whack shit right now. You wanna know what I did for fun last night? I killed my own freaking dog.
Sam and Bridget figure out that monk's hood could be a cure, and so they whip up an antidote for Ginger. But when Bee sees Jason terrorizing some kid, she hits him with a dose and it works. He's back to regular dumb Jason.
I have to go, I have a class.
Figures that the least deserving character makes it through the movie and is cured. Jason's story has a happy ending. Most aren't as lucky as Jason, though. The movie racks up a high body count, and with major characters, too. Trina is set up as one of the Fitzgerald sisters' enemies. They get caught talking shit about her.
Your standard cum buckety date bait.
Good one.
So she bullies them, shoving Bee into one of the chewed up dogs. Even before the bite, Ginger wants a piece of Trina.
Want me to kill her? I'll kill her for you, Bee.
Seriously, what about torture?
Anything you want.
So Bee devises a plan to trick Trina into thinking her dog was attacked, though she gets cold feet.
The fuck, Bee? This is your idea. If you don't like your ideas, stop having them.
And even though that plan was interrupted by the werewolf, Trina's dog gets eaten for real by Ginger later. Trina confronts Bee about the dog napping, but then she starts bitching at Bee for being too close to Sam because she wants him.
He doesn't like you. He's a cherry hound. He's into virgins.
Trina, you're bleeding. Go home.
Ginger jumps Trina, yanking her into the house and making a huge mess. Bee doesn't want her sister to throw her life away. Trina manages to pull a knife, but on her way out of the house she slips and breaks her skull on the island. The girls hide her body in the freezer so they can bury her later, but they have to explain all the blood. Since they've been staging fake deaths for a school project recently, they pass this off to their parents as another shoot.
Corn syrup. Daddy, you want some?
Their parents are completely oblivious to most of what their daughters are up to, but this has Dad suspicious.
I think they're up to something.
Stay in your own little world, Henry. This one just confuses you.
Under the dead of night, they bury Trina in their playhouse, and Bee doesn't think she knows her sister anymore.
I think she's pretty.
If I wasn't here, would you eat her?
No. God, that'd be like fucking her.
Their mom eventually finds out, and surprisingly she's game to just leave everything behind to keep her girls.
First thing tomorrow, I'll let the house fill up with gas and I'll light a match.
Ginger takes a trip to the school to flash some of Jason's friends, but gets called into her teacher's office. She ends up being the one doling out the punishment though, and redecorates his room with a touch of dark red. Bee wants to help her sister stay hidden, if that's even possible anymore, and helps her clean up the mess. But Ginger spreads the carnage around even more as she takes a bite out of this helpless janitor. Ginger goes full arch villain as she describes to Bee how fucking fantastic it feels to give in to her dark desires.
It feels so good.
I'm a goddamn force of nature. I feel like I could do just about anything.
Bee tells her getting killed or arrested because it's fun to rip people up is more psychotic than sardonic. Life's a drag and the world's full of phonies, but they used to hold up a mirror to the problems. Now they were the problem. Ginger still feels connected to her sister, but she thinks that it's Bee who needs to join her so they can stay together.
I said I would die for you.
No, you said you'd die with me because you had nothing better to do.
Ginger leaves her sister behind and decides to go hunting at the Halloween bash over at Sam's place. She closes in on Sam, and while he isn't into it, he's terrible at turning down her advances. Bee tracks Ginger down, and after seeing her sister hurt Sam, she demands that Ginger not hurt anyone other than her. Bridget cuts her own hand, and her sister's, and presses them together so that the infection will spread.
Now I am you.
I know you are, but what am I?
Neither the audience nor Sam knows Bee's plan at this point, so he just whacks Ginger in the head with a shovel.
You fucking idiot! The cure works! There's more at the house. This is the only way I can get her to come back with me. Oh shit.
Her plan is simple, though. She can say it even when she's weakened by the lycanthropy setting in.
Get home, cure her, cure me.
During the trip home, Ginger woke up, broke out, and is waiting to ambush them somewhere in the house. The atmosphere is so creepy with the whirlwind of damage under the Halloween decorations. Sam and Bee use improvised tools to prepare some monk's hood antidotes while hiding in the kitchen pantry.
That's real fucking hygienic.
I doubt it matters.
But Ginger is too quick for them and she grabs Sam, dragging him down into the basement to feed on him. When Bee finally finds them, she even succumbs to the hunger and takes a taste of Sam's expanding blood pool. But she regains her senses and tries stabbing the syringe into her sister, who is now fully in werewolf mode. As her sister chases her around the basement, she grabs a knife to defend herself, with one sharp object in each hand. When Ginger lunges at her sister, the knife is buried in her chest, and Bee realizes her sister is gone forever. The final image is the sisters together for the last time, Bridget holding Ginger as she lets out her last breaths. This dark and tragic story has a frighteningly real emotional core, which makes it very personal. It's the quintessential cult classic, mixing style, honesty, and heart to make a movie that really sticks with you. It doesn't sugarcoat or moralize, it doesn't talk down to you, it unapologetically speaks its nasty truth.
Nice.
It shows how scary life is from the start, how becoming an adult spells certain doom for your childhood bonds. Ginger Snaps is a movie that everyone should see, so get some of your lame friends together and watch Ginger do her thing.
I'll behave.
Another review you should check out for this movie is from Gore, which is a sweet channel for horror movie fans. Felicia has covered hundreds of horror classics and newer scary movies with genuine passion. In this clip, she talks about an often overlooked segment of movies that Ginger Snaps knocks out of the park.
It has some of the best opening credits I've ever seen in my life. The girls being really obsessed with death. They are taking all these photos of themselves in staged death scenes. It is so dark, funny, and also cool. And they'll show it to their class. The teacher's like, oh my god. It's great.
So go and check out Gore's Ginger Snaps review. They don't call it the curse for nothing. The link's in the description. Next week, we're sticking to a theme with another movie about a dangerous girl, 2016's The Neon Demon. Here's where you can currently stream that movie about how beauty isn't everything. It's the only thing. Until next Saturday, be thankful you aren't stuck in Bailey Downs so you can actually have a life. Later.